Picture this: 4 beat-up Crown victorias, Talladega Superspeedway, 3 active NASCAR Cup Series drivers, and 1 YouTube legend with 4.6 million subscribers, all of them locked bumper to bumper, pushing a retired police cruiser to 159 miles per hour on one of the most legendary pieces of asphalt on the planet. No sponsorship. No marketing team. No corporate agenda. Just 4 guys who love going fast deciding that Talladega was the right place to find out exactly how hard they could push a car that used to write traffic tickets. That is how this story begins, and by the time it ends, you will understand exactly why this moment matters far beyond a viral clip on social media. To understand why any of this is significant, you first need to understand who Garrett Mitchell actually is, because if you only know him as Cletus McFarland, the guy doing burnouts and blowing up engines on YouTube, you are missing the larger story entirely. Garrett Mitchell built his YouTube channel from the ground up around one simple premise: go fast, have fun, and share every single moment of it publicly. That formula connected. His channel now sits at over 4.6 million subscribers, and it did not get there through celebrity cameos or manufactured moments. It got there because the content is real, the speed is real, and the passion behind it is completely genuine. Along the way, he established the Freedom Factory, his own personal racetrack in Florida, which immediately became a landmark destination in the online car culture world. But here is the part that people outside the racing community often miss: Cletus McFarland was never just a content creator playing at being a racer. He has always been a genuine competitor, and his recent resume makes that impossible to argue against. In 2025, Garrett Mitchell competed in ARCA races at both Talladega and Charlotte, 2 of the most demanding tracks on the entire NASCAR calendar, and finished in the top 10 at both venues. Those are not softballs. Those are high-speed, high-pressure environments where experienced drivers struggle and rookies get chewed up. Then came his Truck Series debut at Daytona in 2026, which is about as high-pressure a debut environment as NASCAR offers. And most recently, and most significantly, he was confirmed as the driver of the number 33 Chevrolet for Richard Childress Racing, one of the most storied organizations in the entire history of the sport. He has spoken publicly about growing more comfortable inside the NASCAR environment, knowing where to go in the garage, recognizing the familiar faces, understanding the rhythm of the track week. That is not the language of a celebrity chasing a bucket list moment. That is the language of a professional doing the unglamorous work that real careers are built on. This is a legitimate racing career in progress, and the Talladega Crown Vic session exists inside that context. Now, the main event. Talladega Superspeedway stretches 2.66 miles around, with banking in the turn sitting at 33 degrees. Cup cars during qualifying runs regularly exceed 200 miles per hour on this track. Drivers with decades of experience at this venue openly admit that Talladega never fully loses its edge, the variables never quite settle, the draft never becomes completely predictable, and the margin for error stays razor thin regardless of how many laps you have logged there. The draft at Talladega specifically is not a minor aerodynamic bonus. It is a physical force that can accelerate or destabilize a car so quickly that experienced racers have been caught off guard by it. That is the environment into which Garrett Mitchell and 3 Cup Series drivers brought retired police interceptors with no downforce package, no aerodynamic engineering suite, and none of the Cup car technology that makes those speeds survivable on a normal day. Solo, a Crown Victoria police interceptor, standard, stock, unmodified, is probably reaching somewhere in the low 130s at its absolute ceiling under ideal conditions. These are not race cars. They are sedans that spent their working lives sitting in speed traps. But take 4 of them, lock them nose to tail in a full-length draft down Talladega's back straight, and the physics of superspeedway racing start doing something remarkable. The draft compounds across all 4 cars simultaneously. The lead car punches a hole in the air. Each car behind it benefits and simultaneously contributes to the pull on the car ahead. For retired police cruisers, bumper to bumper, reached a recorded speed of 159 miles per hour. That is textbook superspeedway drafting physics applied to the last vehicle anyone would expect to be the subject of that experiment, and the result was legitimately stunning. The moment that sent it viral beyond the car community was Ryan Preece's reaction. He immediately posted the clip to social media with a caption that captured everything about the absurdity and the joy of the entire exercise. His bald eagle line became the shorthand for the whole event, the kind of phrase that communicates instantly why something is both ridiculous and completely correct at the same time. That reaction mattered because Ryan Preece is not a casual observer. He is an active NASCAR Cup Series driver, and his enthusiasm for what happened at Talladega that day was completely unfiltered and genuine. Here is where the story shifts from entertaining to genuinely significant. Look at who was in those Crown Victorias alongside Garrett Mitchell and ask yourself why they were there. Brad Keselowski, owner-driver of RFK Racing, former NASCAR Cup Series champion, and one of the sharpest strategic minds actively competing in the sport right now, has run Talladega at over 200 miles per hour in actual Cup machinery. He has raced at this track at the highest level of the sport for years. He did not need to strap into a retired police cruiser and go flat out on that oval. He chose to. That choice says something specific about what Garrett Mitchell has built and the credibility it carries inside the garage. Buescher, Keselowski's driver at RFK Racing and sitting 7th in the 2026 Cup Series standings early in the season, is an active, competitive Cup driver with a full schedule and real points race pressure on him. He also chose to be there. Then there is Preece, whose connection to this community goes deeper than one viral post. Last summer, Preece won the Cletus McFarland New England 900 at Stafford Speedway, a legitimate 90-lap Crown Vic race where he outdueled Greg Biffle in the closing stages to take the win. These are not strangers who showed up for a photo opportunity. This is a community that Garrett Mitchell built through years of consistent, genuine engagement with racing, and the people inside professional NASCAR recognize it as real. 3 active Cup Series drivers did not have to be at Talladega that day. Their presence is a data point about the cultural weight of what Cletus McFarland has constructed, not a content empire built on spectacle, but an actual motorsports community that experienced professionals want to be connected to. That is not a small thing. That is a cultural achievement that took years of deliberate work to earn. Step back and look at what NASCAR's traditional path actually looks like. Decades of grinding through late models, local short tracks, regional series, Xfinity, trucks, and finally a cup shot if everything lines up perfectly and the funding never runs dry, a path that the vast majority of drivers who attempt it never complete. Now look at Garrett Mitchell's path. He started on YouTube doing burnouts in a Corvette. He built his own racetrack. He started racing Crown Vics for the pure enjoyment of it. He raced ARCA at Talladega and Charlotte and finished top 10 at both. He made his Truck Series debut at Daytona. He landed a contract with Richard Childress Racing. That sequence of events does not resemble any path that has existed in NASCAR before it. And critically, it is working. Travis Pastrana has said publicly that Cletus McFarland significantly underplays his own driving ability and can genuinely will anything put in front of him. A Crown Victoria reaching 159 miles per hour at Talladega through pure superspeedway drafting dynamics is not a contradiction of that assessment. It is supporting evidence. The car was not going that fast by accident, it was going that fast because the drivers understood exactly how to position themselves and maintain the draft through one of the most demanding stretches of racetrack in the world. What Garrett Mitchell represents for NASCAR's audience problem is worth examining carefully. He is a direct entry point for a generation of fans who did not grow up attending races, who found motorsports through a screen, and who connected with someone doing wild and joyful things to cars and sharing every single moment of it without a filter. Those fans are now buying ARCA tickets. They are watching Truck Series events. They are showing up at tracks they had never heard of 2 years prior because Garrett Mitchell is competing there. That is new money, new eyeballs, and new energy entering a sport that has spent years working on the audience growth problem without a clean solution. Cletus McFarland did not set out to solve NASCAR's viewership challenge, he just did what he has always done, and the audience followed him directly into the sport. Looking forward, the questions his fanbase is actively debating are real and worth engaging with honestly. He is confirmed in the number 33 Chevrolet for Richard Childress Racing. What does his schedule look like across the rest of 2026? Which tracks suit a driver at his stage of development best? The question that closed his own Talladega video, whether he should race Talladega in ARCA this spring, has a genuine argument on both sides. The case for it, he has already proven he can run top 10 at Talladega in ARCA competition, and his comfort level at that track is now documented in detail. The case against, the RCR season demands bandwidth, and adding high-risk superspeedway events during a building year carries real consequences if something goes wrong. His lap times have been getting tighter event over event. His finishes have been getting stronger. His comfort inside the NASCAR garage has grown visibly and publicly from race to race. There are drivers who spent entire careers chasing an RCR contract and never reached it. Garrett Mitchell built his own lane into one through years of deliberate, public, unglamorous work executed in full view of millions of people. The forward-looking question for this story is no longer whether Cletus McFarland belongs in NASCAR. The question is how far this goes, and based on the trajectory of the last 18 months, nobody has a ceiling estimate that feels credible yet. For crown victorious at Talladega. 159 miles per hour. No corporate agenda. No carefully managed brand moment. Just drivers, cars, and one of the greatest tracks on earth asking the only question that actually matters in motorsports: how fast can we go? If you want NASCAR coverage that actually understands what makes this sport worth paying attention to, subscribe to NASCAR Nation Report right now. We are here every single week covering the stories that matter, and we are just getting started. And if this video gave you something real, hit that like button. It genuinely makes a difference for this channel and helps us keep bringing you coverage at this level.